This company revolutionized sensor technology because of outdated thinking. My son's voice filled the boardroom. His laser pointer circled my face on the projection screen. It's time we stop letting legacy leadership hold us back. 50 employees stared at me. Derek's PowerPoint showed 2 pictures. Mine labeled legacy. His labeled progress. My father built this company in the 1980s. Derek continued, his voice confident and cold. It's 2024. The world has moved on. The HR director stood. A security guard appeared at the door. Effective immediately, I'm assuming full CEO control, Derek announced. Dad will transition into an advisory role. The room erupted in applause. These were people I'd hired, people whose families I knew. They were clapping for my destruction. Mr. Brennan, please come with us, the guard said quietly. I walked past 50 faces on shaking legs. My ID badge wouldn't scan at the door. They'd already deactivated it. If you're already shocked by what you just witnessed, you're not alone. Subscribe to this channel and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I want to know this story is reaching people who understand. Now, let me tell you how I got here. My name is Benjamin Brennan. I'm 64 years old. The man who destroyed my life was the son I raised alone for 32 years. What I didn't know yet was that my son wasn't really my son at all. I drove home in silence, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Derek's words kept echoing. Outdated methods from a bygone era. I'd founded Brennan Technologies in 1984 with $50,000 and a basement workshop. Spent 60-hour weeks perfecting sensor technology that changed the entire industry. Made Derek CEO 2 years ago because I trusted him completely. That trust just destroyed everything. The next morning, I returned to collect my belongings. My office was already empty. Everything packed in cardboard boxes like garbage. Through the window, I saw Derek in my old office, already redecorated. My award sat in the trash. Mr. Brennan? A young voice startled me. Kyle from engineering stood there, 26 years old. He looked nervous. I'm sorry about what happened, Kyle whispered. What Derek did was wrong. It's just business, I said, trying to sound fine. No, Kyle glanced around. He's been planning this for months. He called it Operation Fresh Start. My stomach dropped. What? Kyle pulled out his phone. There's something else. Derek's been meeting with someone after hours. He showed me a photo. My blood ran cold. The man sitting with Derek was Vincent Reeves, my former business partner who'd sworn revenge 28 years ago. I went straight to my attorney's office. Howard Pierce had been my friend for 30 years. Ben, this severance package is a trap, Howard said, reviewing the termination papers. Derek's offering $200,000. But look at this non-disclosure agreement. He pointed to the fine print. If I signed, I couldn't say anything negative about the company ever. Couldn't interfere with operations. Couldn't compete. Sign this and you can't fight back, Howard warned. My heart was racing. What about the patents? Howard pulled up the registration database on his computer. His face changed. Ben, all 127 patents are still registered to you. Benjamin Brennan, personally, not the company. I couldn't breathe. Derek never transferred them? He probably assumed they belonged to whoever was CEO. Howard explained. But legally, Derek is running a technology company using patents he doesn't own. For the first time since the firing, I felt something other than despair. Hope, don't sign anything yet, Howard said. Let me investigate Derek's recent activities. I showed him Kyle's photo of Derek and Vincent. Howard's face went pale. Vincent Reeves? If he's involved. He looked at me with concern. Ben, I need to show you something. You're not going to like it. Howard pulled up surveillance photos on his laptop. Derek and Vincent meeting every Tuesday for 6 months. Same coffee shop every time. Vincent's been buying minority shares through shell companies, Howard explained. He now owns 23% of Brennan Technologies. 23% of the company I'd built. They're working together. I whispered, "There's more." Howard's voice got quiet. "Ben, When I was digging through old files, I found something in Patricia's employment records. Something she left behind when you divorced. He handed me a folder. Inside was a medical document from 32 years ago, a paternity test. The results showed 0% probability that I was Derek's biological father. The office started spinning. I grabbed the desk to steady myself. The test was done when Derek was 6 months old. Howard said gently. Patricia knew the entire time. Every memory of Derek's childhood flashed through my mind, teaching him to ride a bike, baseball games, his first day at MIT, all of it built on a lie. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. The text message made my hand shake. Now you know the truth. He was never yours. Get out while you can. Old man. Vincent. He knew I'd found out, but the message meant something worse. If Vincent was texting me now, that meant he knew about the paternity test, which meant Derek probably knew too. My son had known he was my son, and he'd fired me anyway. We need to run a DNA test, Howard said, to confirm who Derek's biological father actually is. But I already knew. Deep in my gut, I knew. It's Vincent, isn't it? Howard nodded slowly. That's what I believe. And if I'm right, this takeover has been planned for years. I sat in stunned silence. Vincent Reeves, the man I bought out in 1996 after he wanted to sell our technology to weapons manufacturers. The man who'd screamed at me during our final meeting. You're choosing morals over millions, Benjamin. You'll regret this. He'd been planning revenge for 28 years. Ben, there's one more thing. Howard pulled up an email on his screen. I have a contact who used to work at your company. She forwarded me this. It was an internal email from Derek to his leadership team, dated 3 months ago. Phase 1 complete. Legacy employees over 50 being systematically replaced. Phase 2 begins after IPO. No one suspects the real plan. What's Phase 2? I asked. I don't know yet, Howard admitted. But whatever it is, they're moving fast. My phone rang. My daughter Valerie calling from California. I answered, hoping for support. Instead, her first words crushed me. Dad, Derek told me everything. Why didn't you tell us you knew he wasn't your real son? Valerie, that's not true, I said, my voice breaking. I just found out yesterday. Derek said you've known for years, that you resented him for it. My own daughter didn't believe me. He said you're trying to destroy his career now because you're angry, Valerie continued. Dad, he's my brother. Why are you doing this? Is he your brother? The words came out harsh. Did you know he's been planning to push me out for months? That he's working with Vincent Reeves. Vincent? Dad, that sounds paranoid. Valerie, I need you to trust me. Derek said you might say things like this. Her voice was cold, distant. Maybe it is time to retire. You're 64. You've earned it. She'd chosen Derek's side. The call ended badly. I sat there holding my phone, feeling more alone than I'd ever felt. Howard cleared his throat. Ben, I'm hiring a private investigator. Natalie Brooks, former FBI. She'll dig into everything. Derek's finances, Vincent's shell companies, Patricia's involvement. How long will that take? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Do it, I said. I want to know everything. What I didn't know was that in those 2 weeks, Derek would make a move that would change everything. And I'd have to decide whether to save the company or watch it burn. For 3 days, I sat alone in my house with the unsigned severance papers on my kitchen table. $200,000. It would pay my bills, cover legal fees, make life easier. But signing meant silence forever. Howard called every morning. Derek's lawyers are pushing hard. They want this closed. Maybe I should just take the money. Walk away. Let Derek run things. I picked up a pen. Then I saw it. My old notebook from 1984. Patent sketches I'd drawn at 3 a.m. Sensor designs that revolutionized the industry. Inside was a photo of my father. He'd been a mechanic. Taught me everything about engineering. Died when I was 30. He used to say, Son, integrity isn't convenient, but it's all you've got when everything else is gone. I put the pen down, picked up my phone instead. Howard, don't file anything yet. I want Derek to commit to this publicly. Let him think he's won. When he's on top of the world, that's when we strike. What changed your mind? Howard asked. I just realized something. Derek didn't just steal my company. He stole my life's work and put his name on it. That's not a business decision. That's personal. What's the plan? Derek offered me a consulting position. I'm going to accept. I'll attend meetings, take notes, record everything. Let him incriminate himself. That's risky, Ben. I know, but I need to see how deep this goes. What I didn't realize was that Derek's next move will reveal a conspiracy much bigger than I'd imagined. The first product meeting was scheduled for following Monday. I arrived early. Derek looked surprised to see me. Dad, glad you're here, he said professionally. No warmth, like I was a stranger. 20 investors sat around the conference table. Derek's new leadership team surrounded him. Gentlemen, I'm excited to present our next-generation sensor technology, Derek began. He clicked to a slide showing technical diagrams. My heart stopped. It was patent number 47, technology I'd invented in 1996. Derek had just changed the labels and colors. I developed this breakthrough over the past 18 months, Derek told the investors confidently. It represents a complete revolution in motion detection. Lies. Every word was a lie. I sat in the back, phone recording in my pocket, taking notes, documenting everything. Derek glanced at me once, smirked, thought I was a broken old man who'd accepted defeat. The investors were eating it up, asking questions, talking about funding. After the meeting, Derek actually walked over to thank me. Appreciate you not making a scene in there, Dad. The word Dad felt like a knife. Once we go public, you'll see this was the right decision, Derek continued. Your legacy will live on through what I'm building. I forced a smile. I'm sure it will. He had no idea I was building a case that would destroy him. But then Derek said something that made my blood run cold. By the way, Vincent Reeves is joining our advisory board next month. I hope that won't be awkward for you. Vincent joining the advisory board meant he was coming out of the shadows. The conspiracy was becoming official. I left the building and called Howard immediately. They're not even hiding it anymore, I said. Vincent's joining the company publicly. The private investigator found something, Howard replied. Can you come to my office now? 30 minutes later, I was sitting across from Natalie Brooks. She was 42, sharp-eyed, and had a thick folder in front of her. Mr. Brennan, your instincts were right, Natalie said. Vincent Reeves is Derek's biological father. DNA match is 99.97%. Even though I'd suspected it, hearing confirmation made it real. Vincent and Patricia had an affair 33 years ago, Natalie continued. She got pregnant, then married you because you were stable, safe, would provide. And Derek, I asked, when did he find out? 3 years ago. Genetic ancestry test through one of those DNA websites. 3 years. That's when Derek started changing. When he became distant and critical of my methods. There's more, Natalie said, opening the folder. Derek visited Vincent's house regularly for the past 3 years. Phone records show over 200 calls between them. Financial records show Vincent paid for Derek's MBA program. So they've been planning this the whole time, I said quietly. Natalie pulled out a printed email. This was sent from Derek to Vincent 2 years ago. My source inside the company forwarded it. I read the words and felt sick. He still has no idea I'm your son. Still thinks I'm his. This makes it easier. When we push him out, he'll blame himself for failing me. By the time he realizes the truth, we'll own everything he built. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. There's one more thing, Natalie said. Your ex-wife Patricia has been meeting with Vincent monthly for 2 years. Last month, she transferred $50,000 to Derek's account. The memo line said, final payment as agreed. All three of them, working together, planning my destruction. What's the end game? I asked, why go through all this? Natalie flipped to another page. From what I can piece together, They're planning an IPO, taking the company public at a $500 million valuation. $500 million. Vince and shell companies have been buying up minority shares, Natalie explained. After the IPO, combined with Derek's shares, they control 38% of the company, enough to force out the remaining board members. So, they get the company and the money, I said, and you get nothing, Natalie confirmed. That's why they want you to sign the NDA. Once you're silenced, they can rewrite history. Derek becomes a genius founder. You become the old man who couldn't keep up. Howard leaned forward. Ben, we have enough evidence to file lawsuits right now. Patent infringement. Fraud. We could destroy them tomorrow. No, I said slowly. An idea was forming. Let them announce the IPO publicly. Let Derek do media interviews and sign investor contracts. The bigger his promises, the harder his fall. That's risky, Howard warned. What if something goes wrong? Then I'll lose everything anyway, I said. But if this works, the whole world will know what they tried to do. Natalie smiled slightly. You want them to commit fraud in front of cameras. Exactly. What I didn't know was that Derek's IPO announcement would come sooner than I expected, and it would force me to make the hardest decision of my life. 2 weeks later, Derek called a company-wide meeting. All 500 employees gathered in the main auditorium. I sat in the back row, recording on my phone. Derek took the stage in an expensive suit, confident, powerful, everything I'd taught him to be. Today, I'm announcing something that will change all our lives, Derek said. We're taking Brennan Technologies public. The room exploded in cheers. $500 million valuation, Derek continued. Stock option for every employee. This is our moment. People were crying with joy, hugging each other. Derek had promised them wealth beyond their dreams. The presentation showed the technology roadmap. Every single product depended on patents I owned, patents Derek didn't have legal rights to use. This company was built on a foundation of outdated thinking, Derek said, and I felt my jaw clench. But under new leadership, we're revolutionizing the industry. My innovations will take us to heights my father never imagined. Your innovations. He was claiming credit for everything I created. The media coverage started immediately. Headlines called Derek a tech wunderkind. Articles said he'd save his father's dying company. One article made my hands shake. Derek Brennan, the son who surpassed his father's limited vision. After the meeting, Derek saw me in the back. He smiled, thought I was proud. I smiled back. He had no idea he'd just committed securities fraud in front of 500 witnesses. And in 60 days, when the IPO happened, I'd make sure everyone knew it. But first, I needed to know if my daughter would stand with me or against me. Valerie flew home unexpectedly that weekend. Dad, we need to talk, she said at my door. My heart sank. Had Derek gotten to her again? We sat in my living room. Valerie looked troubled. I've been thinking about what you said, she began. About Derek planning this. So I did some research. And Derek told me you'd known about the paternity test for years. But I checked the date on the test. It was done before I was born. You would have told me something that important. You wouldn't keep that secret. Relief flooded through me. Valerie. He lied to me, Dad. Derek lied to both of us. Tears filled her eyes. I pulled her into a hug. I'm so sorry I didn't believe you, Valerie said. I should have trusted you. You're here now. That's what matters. I told her everything. Vincent being Derek's biological father, the 3-year conspiracy, the stolen patents, the planned IPO fraud. Valerie's shock turned to rage. They've been planning this the whole time? Yes. What are you going to do? I showed her Howard's legal files, the cease and desist letters, the SEC complaint, the patent infringement case. We're going to destroy them, I said quietly. But I need your help. Anything. You still have friends at the company. I need eyes inside. Information about Derek's plans that I can't get myself. Valerie nodded firmly. Consider it done. My daughter became my secret weapon. But we didn't know that Derek's next move would reveal just how evil this conspiracy really was. If you're still watching this, please subscribe, because somehow it gets even worse from here. I wish I was exaggerating. Derek went on a national investor roadshow over the next month. New York, San Francisco, Boston, pitching the IPO to billionaires and investment firms. Valerie's friend sent me secret recordings of every presentation. In New York, revolutionary breakthrough innovations developed under my personal leadership. In San Francisco, proprietary technology that will dominate the market for decades. In Boston, 300% return projected within 5 years, guaranteed by our patent portfolio. Every word was fraud. Every promise was built on technology Derek didn't own. The investors were committing massive amounts. 50 million here, 100 million there. Vincent shell companies were investing too, positioning himself to emerge as Derek's major backer after the IPO went public. Natalie tracked every commitment, every signature, every contract. Total investor commitments are at 350 million now, she reported. When this collapses, the lawsuits will be catastrophic. Good, I said. Howard looked at me carefully. Ben, once we file, there's no going back. Derek will lose everything. Are you sure? I thought about Derek's email. He'll never see us coming. I'm sure, I said. The IPO is in 2 weeks. NASDAQ opening bell ceremony. National media coverage. Perfect. Let him stand on top of the world. Then we push him off. But I wasn't prepared for what happened next. TechCrunch published a massive feature article. Derek Brennan, the son who surpassed his father. The piece destroyed me. Called me an outdated engineer from the analog era who couldn't adapt. Derek was quoted extensively. My father did his best with the knowledge he had. But real innovation requires courage to move beyond the past. Sometimes the hardest thing a founder can do is step aside. The article's photo showed Derek in my old corner office. Behind him on the wall was a framed patent certificate. I zoomed in on my computer screen. Patent number 73. Advanced Motion Sensor Array. Filed 2001. Inventor, Benjamin Brennan. Derek had hung MY patent on his wall, like a trophy, like he'd won it from me in battle. That image burned into my brain. Social media picked up the article. Comments flooded in. This is what happens when boomers can't accept they're outdated. Good for Derek for having the courage to push out dead weight. Old man needs to retire and let the young people innovate. I read every comment. Let the anger fuel me. Howard called. Ben, I'm worried about you. Maybe we should... No, I interrupted. We proceed exactly as planned. Let them have their moment. You sure you're okay? I looked at that photo again. My patent on Derek's wall. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. But then Patricia showed up at my house. I hadn't spoken to my ex-wife in 2 years. Seeing her at my door was shocking. Ben, I need to talk to you. Before the IPO. She looked nervous. Guilty. I let her in, wondering what fresh betrayal this would bring. I need to tell you the truth, Patricia began, sitting on my couch. About Derek, about Vincent, about everything. She confessed it all. The affair with Vincent 33 years ago. Getting pregnant. Marrying me because I was safe and stable. Keeping the secret for 3 decades. Derek found out 3 years ago through one of those DNA websites. Patricia said he was devastated at first. Then Vincent contacted him. And you helped him plan to destroy me, I said flatly. Patricia looked away. Vincent said you stole the company from him, that it should have been his. We thought we were fixing an old wrong. By stealing everything I built, you were supposed to retire happily. The severance was generous. I laughed bitterly. $200,000 in a gag order? That's generous for 40 years of work. Patricia stood up, pacing. Vincent promised Derek and me shares in the IPO. 10% each. We'd all be wealthy. But he's cutting you out, isn't he? Her face confirmed it. She pulled papers from her purse. I saw the real shareholder agreement yesterday, Patricia said, voice shaking. Derek gets 40%. Vincent gets 50%. I get nothing. So she hadn't come to apologize. She'd come because she'd been betrayed too. Please, Ben, don't destroy them. Derek is still my son. I looked at this woman who'd lied to me for 33 years. He's not my son, I said quietly, and he made his choice. Patricia left in tears. But her visit had told me something crucial. Cracks were forming in their conspiracy, and I intended to break it wide open.